Catherine's Garden of LWS 2019 Year-End Review. Today is the 21st day of January, Martin Luther King Day. And yesterday we had snow and ice here in the Northeast. And now, so this is what the garden looks like. At first I thought it was going to be a very mild winter, but today is 4 degrees and everything is just full of ice. So here am I with my seeds. Yes, I am so happy. Look at that. Yeah. Here am I at the dollar store, and this is January, the end of January. So I'm really thinking about how I can begin my seed starting. So that's why I'm here at the dollar store. Just getting some fresh zinnia seeds here. I bought myself quite a few packs here. 4 packs, and then I'm going to try corn, marigold, watermelon. It's so good to get the watermelon seed. And this looks like the kind that I was thinking of before that I saw in, oh, this is Sugar Baby. Yeah, so I think that they'll grow quickly. I'm going to try and start it in the house. And let it grow in the house and then transplant it. And sunflowers, I love sunflowers. Carrots, Shasta daisy, cucumbers, onions. These onions are a little different. You try that. The Swiss chard, I had actually bought some Swiss chard starts. Try to say that fast. And so it's good to get it here with the seeds. I think that I'll have success with that. And then squash, this type of squash here. I loved the squash. Last year I had so much success with the butternut squash and the pumpkins. I didn't buy any pumpkin seeds. I'm going to have to, obviously, I'm going to go back and get me some more. But here's the cosmos and the radishes. Hello and welcome to Lady Wisdom Speaks Academy and Catherine's Garden. And it is such a miserable day today, but yet such an exciting day, and to see the work that's being done in the garden. The garden is looking spectacular for spring and ready to just take off. By the end of, I would say by the end of this month, April, you're going to see a totally new, spanking new, great, wonderful looking garden. And my husband has been working diligently at the task of putting it together. On this cold, damp April day, I'm out here and I just came back from the nursery that I discovered. Really nice nursery. So I'm very excited about this year of gardening, even though it looks like nothing. You just wait and see. It's gonna look like something. There you go. Yay. I'm so excited. In a short time, the garden has just been evolving and changing. Remember when it was just looking like all dirt and mud? And now look at it, just coming alive. Hello and welcome to Catherine's Garden. So good to be here with you today. Now, I have been walking around the garden and just looking at all of the things that are in bloom. It's amazing how the tulips are opening up and the daffodils are just about finished, but then there's some late blooming daffodils that are about to open, and it is just such a pleasant day today. It has been raining for the last couple of days, so everything is so green and lush. I am so pleased at how this Asian pear tree has developed. It is now flowering and just looking so beautiful. Look at the blossoms. I planted this tree last year in the fall, and I just wanted to create like a food forest. And I went to my local nursery and I purchased this pear tree. It looks so at home here in my garden. Now, it's a variety of different Asian pears. If you look at the tag, 3 varieties and 1 semi-dwarf, self-pollinating, ripens early to late August. So I can look forward to receiving fruit, harvesting pears. I'm excited about this, and I'm very happy to see how beautiful this has turned out. Look at that. The blooms are gorgeous. And this area is just looking so nice. I also planted some tulips here, and these are later forming tulips. Isn't that beautiful? And different from my other tulips. Here's another one that's opened up. The daffodils are gone, but the hostas are opening up, and I like the contrast of the leaves of the daffodils with the leaves of the hosta and the variegated grass. This particular bed is filling out so nicely. And here is the peach tree, which had a lot of blossoms. And I'm looking forward to peaches. There's one last blossom there. And then also the apple tree in the background there. These particular daffodils have been holding out. And I really like how the yellow's showing up with the leaves of the hostas. The garden is truly filling out nicely. The hostas are coming up and just looking spectacular. My Stilby, goat's beard, bee balm, figs, not figs, ferns, ferns, tulips, I believe this is a wild mustard plant, but they have little white flowers that's so pretty. My allium. Bishopweed. I even see some strawberry plants coming back here. And this plum tree is opening up and flowering as well. And let's see what type of plums. Stanley, semi-dwarf prune plum, self-pollinating, late August. And I think that I'm going to have some plums too. This is what the apple tree looks like. It has really been flowering, or not flowering, I should say, leafing out. I don't know if it's going to flower. And here's the other one. But at least they came back. I had bought it from Lowe's on sale, half price. But this bed looks very nice. The tulips that I planted are coming up, and hopefully, they'll just bring forth a beautiful display. The alliums are there as well. And here is the other plum tree. And it has flowered as well. It's blooming. So I believe that I'm going to get some plums from this tree too. And this is a yellow egg dwarf plum, self-pollinating, ripens late August as well. This bed is beautiful. Now over here, this has turned out really nice and is filling out. I still have my red tulips here in the corner. They're holding out. But then I also now have these yellow tulips. I love this patch right here. It has just been raining a lot this April. Today's the last day of April, by the way, April 30th. My lanium, yellow lanium's coming out, which looks good, with the yellow tulips and the shrub. And then I have these hostas. This hosta is called Francis Williams, Francis William, and it's going to be huge. It'll fill out this whole space. And then I have a patch of red tulips here. And the scattering of yellow tulips in the back. And then my rose bush, the climbing rose bush, is over there that I bought from Home Depot. But then there's my other climbing rose bush. It's been with me for a long time, but I'm going to have to trim it up, see what happens next. And then this is another rose bush. I have here a hydrangea plant that I'm trying to protect from frost because I really would want it to flower. So we'll see how good I'm able to do that to protect it from bad weather. The garden is just looking so fresh. It's early morning. It just finished raining, and I really love when I'm out here at this time because everything is just popping. The colors are fresh and popping. You can see the different various colors of green, shades of green, and everything just looks alive, plump, and beautiful. That are just rising. Before they were just little turns, little curls, but now they're filling out. And then I have also this barberry that I put in place at the beginning when I first put this bed together. I just love those pansies with the yellow tulips, the white pansies. In the center of the pansies, there's that little dot of yellow, and it goes well with the yellow tulips. Everything is just coming alive. May Garden is going to be so spectacular. And I have here some daffodils that are about to open. This is my rose bush. And these tulips here are from last year. They came up in spite of the fact that we were digging around them and disturbing them. I had placed the same tulips on this side. This bed is so beautiful. And the tulips returned, as well as red tulips that I had planted the previous year. So each year I just need to keep adding tulips, and they'll all come together and create their own design. Now over here I planted these tulips. They have not opened yet, but they will. I like them even in this form. And these daffodils have decided to open. They're small and dainty. The lilac bush is full of blooms and soon will be opening up. But I love this with the rose bush knockout rose bush, the other shrub behind it, and the lilac bush. Very pretty. And this border turned out so pretty with these tulips. I'm just admiring the tulips because now they're in their full display. I'm going to show you the package. And this is how it is supposed to appear. I think it came out really nice. I think these tulips are from last year with the purple and yellow. But these are this year's. It looks spectacular. Let us take some time to look at how the garden is changing from early spring, May 1st to May 9th. Hello and welcome to Catherine's Garden. I am so anxious to see the blooms of this apple tree. Yes, I'm excited to see this. I can't wait until they fully open. And it's amazing. I think this red is a little more darker. And this one is the, let's see, the red Macintosh blossom looks a little more deeper than the Gravenstein apple. This looks so beautiful from the back end here. I really like how it looks. And the apple blossoms are so pretty. Look at that. And this apple tree is grafted with many different types. I have Gravenstein apples, red Macintosh, Cortland apple, and what else? Honeycrisp apple. So these are all the different blooms. So pretty. This is Gravenstein. Look how this bed has filled out. So pretty. This daffodil has bloomed. Look at it. It's so different. I love that. Look at that. And it's there popping with that little red tulip. A lot of people don't like red tulips, but I love red tulips. I think that's so beautiful. And here are my pink ones. Still doing well. This bed is coming around nicely. Look, here are my lilies. They're rising. They look so good. There's something about when the grass has just been cut, and this is the first cut for the year, for this spring 2019, May 2019. It's just beautiful. These tulips are holding up nicely also. And I have some on this bed as well. Now this is amazing down here. These tulips. They're kind of late blooming, but they almost look like peonies. And they match so well with these purple, very royal purple, along with these daffodils, the creamy white daffodils. Absolutely pretty. Back there, my daffodils that I planted, they're finished. There's just a few blooms left, but the hydrangeas are coming up nicely. It is just looking so pretty. Can you hear the birds? Yeah. Now I planted these lupin here. This is a new fresh plant for me, the lupin, and this yellow plant here too. Let's see. This is Coreopsis. And fennel. I planted some fennel there too, to go with the lupin. But soon these alliums are going to open up and it's going to be just beautiful. My lilies are coming up strong, looking so pretty. This bed is nice too. It's full of alliums. I like how these ferns look here. And the rhododendron back there, very pretty. This is the first grass cutting for the season, and this is May 9th, and it is looking so beautiful. The fruit trees are blooming, the hostas are up. Everything's just looking spectacular. The trees are leafing out. They're providing the privacy that is so needed for the summer. And my tulips are still looking good. May 2019. Beautiful. This is what the front garden looks like. And I put in the peppers. These are peppers here. But they seem like they got a little burnt. They're called ghost peppers. They felt the effects of the cold. But still, I think they'll rebound. Over here are the red tulips. The pansies are still hanging in there. And I planted the rest of the peppers here. These other peppers seem to have done a little better. They're doing a little better. Alisa. And this one is California, let's see, California Wonder. So, we're still having cool nights here in Boston. But hopefully it will warm up soon so that my peppers won't die. So this is what it looks like so far. The tulips are on their last leg, but they're holding up pretty much. I really like how the lilac bush is filling out, and even some of the buds are starting to open up. I'm also getting some of the bleeding hearts over there to open up. They're the same color as the tulips, which looks very pretty. And even this bee balm, the edges of it has the similar color. It's almost like a kind of maroony edge to it, which is really nice. Hello and welcome to Catherine's Garden. I just have to take you around today so that you can see the beauty of the garden for June 1. Today is the first day of June, and my husband just cut the grass and everything is just looking so spectacular. So come with me for a quick, just a run around, a tour of what's happening in the garden. It's going to be quick, but it's going to be great. I just had to share it with you. So enjoy. Happy Saturday. So I'm going to start the tour from back here. This is the back area. And I really haven't shown you this area that much because it's still under development. But here is this nice cozy spot where we have annuals, impatiens, and I created this little basket here with these purple petunias of different shades of purple. And as we go along, we are going to see things pop up in this bed. Now, this bed is filled with leaves and garden waste so that we can create compost. And what I did was put a layer of cardboard and some mulch on it, and probably won't be using this bed that much this year, but in the years to come we will have a good gardening bed for planting vegetables, because in this area they get the morning sun, and I believe that it's going to be very fruitful. But in the meantime, I have nasturtiums and other seedlings planted along the way here, along with mint. And then on the side here of the house, we have our woodland plants, and also other things that are popping up. I really love my little white amenities. You're going to see them all around the garden, but this is their time. And they're right in between the roses, the tulips and the roses. It's this time where it's continuing my succession of bloom. I planted some carrots here, and look at this. Isn't this beautiful? With the white and the different colors of yellow and green. They're being captured in the bloom here of this white anemone. And my hostas, of course, are doing fantastic. Back here, you can see that the astilbe are about to open up. And the roses. And then over here in the corner, we have the clematis. It's not as prolific as before, but it's doing fairly well. And then I also have a foxglove coming in. So this bed has a lot to offer. I really love these fern, and they are just looking very happy here. So let's just swing around, and we're going to walk through the garden real quick. As you can see, the alliums are about to end, and I have here my potatoes, the plum trees, and this side is just about done. But the tomatoes are coming up. I planted these tomatoes here. So when the purple alliums are over, the tomatoes will take over. It's just beautiful. I can smell a fragrance of something. I don't know what it is, but something in the garden is just smelling really, really nice. Beautiful fragrance. Check out these leaves. Oh my. Isn't it beautiful? My friends are very happy here. This is called goat's beard, and they're opening up with white blooms, and this is their time. They're the showstopper in the garden for this period. As the alliums come out, they're coming in, but they are just adding height to this back border, and they are just partnering well with the hosta, the bishopweed, the ferns, my little annuals. Really nice. Now this corner here, we're still working on this area here, but it's doing well. I am so pleased with it. I like this array of hostas with the green and the white variegated hosta. Now this back bed border is absolutely filling in nicely. And here we have these iris that are going to open up shortly. The hydrangeas that I planted are doing very well back here. They're expanding and growing. And back here I have some astilbe. And they're coming in too. Now in this corner over here, we have this building up of annuals. It's going to be really pretty with the different impatiens when they grow in and touch. And this is the back of the vegetable garden that we put together here with the tomatoes, cucumbers, eggplant, spag garden. In this back bed, you're going to see the spiderwort coming in. So I have some permanent perennials that show up too, and spiderwort, some beautiful purple flowers. And then I have this ground cover that have these little beautiful purple flowers here. You can see it here in this patch. I don't know what's the name of it. See that worm? So in this bed, it may look confusing, but right there are the daylilies, and then these are going to have yellow flowers. We have our grasses coming up here. We have our little poppies, and then also some spiderwort would be right in this area here, and it's going to be a pretty bed. Well, you can see that the tulips are gone. I cut them back. But here we have the annuals coming in. with the backdrop of the woodland style plants. It's just beautiful. My husband just cut the grass on May 31st, and here we are June 1st. And this is what it looks like. It's so beautiful. We've been getting a lot of rain. The birds are so happy here in my garden. I don't know if you can see them. I believe that it's a family of robins. But they just love the garden. Well, this bed is doing very well. A lot of good things coming up. My celery seems to be very healthy, and the cabbage. Look at my cabbage. Doing well. I am very satisfied with this little corner here. This is my climbing rose. Soon it will be filled with blossoms. See all the little buds coming in? And this is a hydrangea here in the corner, and it is getting ready to start to show some blooms there. I have this barberry and the ferns. I love the grass when it's freshly cut, and you can see the lines from the lawnmower on the grass. Isn't that beautiful? This has been a very wet spring, and so everything has been receiving such great amounts of water. And because we were diligent in providing compost to all of the different beds and just making sure that they received food, fertilizer, everything is just so healthy looking. I'm really pleased with it. So that's it. That's the garden for June 1st, 2019. Hello and welcome to Catherine's Garden. Well, today is June 15th. We're in the second week of the month of June, and so many changes have happened in the garden. For the last 2 days, I have just been working diligently in the garden, changing and removing and digging up plants and pulling up those thug plants that want to take over. And then also I have been creating new garden areas and updating things. So I want to take you around the garden so that you can see the changes that have been made. And then this is the time of the roses. My roses are in bloom and they are looking so beautiful. Yet there are still others to bloom. So stay tuned for more. And then also I want you to see what's happening in the vegetable areas. In our Boston region, zone 6, it has been very rainy and cool. The night's temperatures have been in the 50s and 60s, and sometimes it doesn't even rise to the 70s, so that the vegetables have really suffered a little bit. But they're coming up, so I wanted you to see what's happening in the vegetable patches and what's happening with the vegetables. So come with me for this journey, this little quick garden tour around Catherine's Garden. Good morning and welcome to Catherine's Garden. This is the second week of June 15th, and this is what we have. You see the little bird? It's a sparrow in the garden. It's early morning, and you could hear the birds cooing. And I wanted to just show you how the roses have developed in such a short period of time. It's been pretty much 2 weeks since they started to open up and start to show, and this is what has happened to them. The main rose within the cluster has opened in each cluster bunch. And they're giving their full expression. Look at the layers of the petals. Unfortunately, I do not know the name of this rose. I know that it's a climber. But it's been in my garden for about, I would say, 20 years. Now right here is a hydrangea shrub, and it's starting to open. See the little buds coming forth. Yeah, it's quite pretty. And of course the arborvitaes. Look at this arborvitae, how tall it has gotten. It's like heading to the sky. And here in this bed, here's another rose. That is just continually blooming. I cut it back so that it can breathe because it was gaining a lot of black spot. But yet, in spite of all of that, it definitely spreads, because look, that's another shoot that's coming up. In the background there is my knockout rose. This is the best it's ever looked. And it's been in the ground about 3 years. I love how the roses are shaped, formed. And it looks like it's on fire in the sun. Very pretty. As we come around, I've decided to plant cabbage here and celery in this bed. It's an experiment. I like the shapes of both of them, and the cabbage is just filling out nicely. Over there is my lupin and other flowers in this bed. I'm really impressed with this corner. This is an azalea. It's called Sarah Hayden, and I love the white flowers. It reminds me of a gardenia. I've been trying to grow gardenias forever, so I think this is a good substitute. This is my angel trumpet tree cuttings, and they look quite healthy there with my variegated ground cover. Hosta and violets. Makes a good vignette here in this corner. The garden has definitely filled out in such a short period of time. And I love these little white flowers. In the evening, they glisten, and the whole garden just sparkles like if there's just white little lights. Here's the other Sarah Hayden plant. More of the flowers have unfolded. I'm going to give it some holly tone, definitely, because I like how it looks. Now in this bed over here, I have my fruit trees and a lot of the annuals there. Those are sun patience, those beautiful pink flowers. Soon you will see daylilies, and the astilbes will be opening. I have cosmos over here and begonias in the pots. I just love the coloring of these sun patience. just beautiful. The coleus is also very attractive, and they are growing as well. Now, this is my Asian pear tree, and you can see the little knobs of pears. It's grafted, and it's about 5 varieties. Some of the branches have pears and some don't. Some are a little more healthier looking than others. But I'm definitely impressed with this because I just planted this last year, and if you look in my videos you'll see it. The planting of the pear tree, Asian pear tree. Now around this corner is the apple tree. It too has fruited. Not all of the branches have fruit on them, and this too is grafted as well. Apples, the Cortland apples. The Cortland apples. They're shown up. And also this one. The Honeycrisp apple. I really didn't get much of the Granny Smith. They're there, but they're very small. This is my apple tree. Isn't that impressive? The Gravenstein flowered, but then the apples are not there. Just a few. And next, my peach tree. I had a lot of peaches on there, but I knocked off the small ones. I don't know, it looks like it's turning brown. Looks like it's turning brown really quick. I don't know why, or if that's the natural color of the peach. You can tell me in the comment section. But I cut it back. All of the other things that were growing around it, because I had other plantings in there, and I cut them out, pulled them out, and I've been giving it compost. I've been putting a lot of extra TLC to this peach tree, hoping that I get some peaches. Now in this back bed, I love how the annuals are just starting to pick up. You can see them peeping over. And the goat's beards are hanging in there. It's starting to really look like a goat's beard, don't you think? want you to take a look at my plum tree here and my plums. I'm excited about that. Hopefully they will hold on and I will have plums. Now I planted this apple tree, this one and this one, but I did not get any blooms at all. It's a different variety. I planted my other plum tree here, and it's definitely holding on to those plums. I have a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see. Maybe 6 plums. So hopefully they'll hold on and I'll get plums in the end. This is what I see when I walk out into my garden. By the way, this fig tree did not come back on its wood here. I tried to protect it over the winter, but it is coming up from the root. You see that? In amongst all of the mint and everything else that's coming up here too. So that's good. I haven't lost it, even though I would have loved it to survive the winter. I'm going to have to try a little harder in figuring out what to do with this fig tree in the ground. Here is another rose. Now I know this name, Curly Pink. That's the name of this rose because I planted it last year and it is doing very well. It is extremely healthy and I'm getting a lot more flowers than I did last year. It's given out its first flower buds and the petals just curl up just like its name. Curly Pink. In this corner too, I have a foxglove. My very first foxglove. I think it looks beautiful. And then up here, I found out the name of this rose. It's Eden Climber. This was planted when the other rose, climbing rose, was planted. It too suffered a great setback, but now it's recovering and doing very well. This back bed is doing very well for June. I'm going to have some astilbe there and also daylilies. The iris, the Japanese iris, finished, and so have the rhododendrons. but the hydrangeas are coming up. Now, I don't know what this is, but it grows every year. I planted some hydrangeas there, pulling them up, hoping that I'll get them, and they're coming up, the little plants. And you can see that that video on planting hydrangea cuttings in the ground. They're there. I don't know if you can see that, but I believe they will come up. Now it looks like my elegans is about to flower. The daylilies are definitely about to flower. I planted some cuttings of this here, and they look like they're catching. This rhododendron bush flowered so well, but now it is throwing out those shoots, which is good for next year. These are my hydrangea plants. They're doing well. I even see, that's an astilbe. Yeah. I even see some flower heads coming. I can't wait for this bed to just light up, because I know it's going to be really nice with the blue blooms, white blooms of the hydrangeas. How exciting. I love hydrangeas. I wanted to show you this, that I'm starting to get tomato flowers. That's a good sign that I will have tomatoes this year. The tomatoes on this side are doing much better, the tomato plants, than those on the other side. And these are grape tomatoes. I guess because this side gets more sun. That's my thinking. And my lemon tree is loving this spot. Look at the new fresh leaves. It's a Meyer lemon tree. It hasn't fruited yet, but maybe this year I might get lucky. The rest of the plants are doing well. It's a little slow, but it's understandable. It's not as sunny on this side, but I know that I will get fruit. These tomatoes are starting to wake up too. I think these are like big boys back here. In this bed, I planted some dahlias. I started them in the pots. and then I transplanted them here. This bed needed a little sprucing, so I think it came out very nice. I did all of this yesterday. My husband added cow manure and compost to the bed, and it really benefited the impatiens. They're responding well to that. In this bed are 2 rhododendrons and also 2 hydrangeas, some annuals, a hosta. In this bed before were the tulips. The purple sensation have finished. Look at how they end up. They're about to go to seed. So that's why I put the dahlias in this bed, to add color and height. But soon we're going to have some daylilies popping up. So it will be colorful. It will look good. This is my new addition to this bed. This is a knockout rose, double pink. And then I had this shrub. I just pulled it up and transplanted it there, and also some iris, bearded iris, and also the geranium. So this is what it looks like from this angle. Definitely rose time. This is a knockout rose. I did some weeding out of this garden, this border. It was getting a little overgrown, but I pulled out things and I updated, and it's looking very nice. This is about finished. This is a Rosa rugosa, white Rosa rugosa. And you can see the hips developing. They're going to be red and really pretty. I like how these knockout roses add so much color and life to the garden. Absolutely pretty. This is a climbing rose, an old-fashioned rose. I don't know the name of it. I'm going to do better. But I love its rich color. Now these are my peonies. Isn't that pretty? It opened up earlier, this one. But then it seemed like it closed up for the night, and it will release its bloom again. I'll show you a picture of that. And then peace rose. Well, there are a whole lot of things happening in the garden here. My hydrangeas coming up, the daylilies, Stella d'Oro daylilies is starting to open up. The lily here, this is a Casablanca lily, starting to gain its little buds. And this is a Coreopsis, which is opening up as well. And in this bed, everything is just blooming, getting bigger. It's not blooming yet, but they're getting bigger. My little eggplants are now huge. They're not huge, but you know what I mean. They're growing. And this is a butternut squash, and soon will be trailing all over the place. The zinnia plants is giving off a little bud there. And this is the marigolds. I love how the cosmos leaves are just giving such a good design to this bed. It's almost like a bouquet. I love the contrast of the white and the purple perilla. I've been thinning out the purple perilla, and of course there's more to thin. However, in the meantime, I like how this looks. I don't even have the heart to pull them. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I really like this bed. So it's a mixture of vegetables and flowers. I have my cleome plants that are growing tall here. The tomatoes doing well. I planted in here the okras, and again they curled up and died. But I planted some seeds, and hopefully the seeds will come in. I just wanted to show you these little ground cover roses. And look at it. It is so pretty. They've been overtaken by other stuff, but still they're determined to stick their heads up. And soon I'll have this little carpet of red here in the middle of all this greenery. Well, if you like this video, then like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. How's your garden growing? I hope all is well with you. I hope that things are going well and that you're enjoying the season, because this is the time to get out and get some fresh air, to be in the garden, to be filled with joy, and get into that peace zone. Well, have a wonderful day, and thank you for visiting with me in Catherine's garden. Bye. Please subscribe to Catherine's Garden, and thank you so much for watching. Bye. Stay tuned for part 2 of the year-end review of Catherine's Garden 2019.